While the idea of swapping your traditional sticks and bricks home for the joy of life on the road in an RV is exciting, it does require careful planning, especially when it comes to your finances. Today's video is for anyone ready to tackle phase 2 of their transition plan, financial preparation. Over the first 12 months of your 2-year plan, you'll focus on building a strong financial foundation, including budgeting, saving, researching, exploring financial options, and beginning your minimalist lifestyle. So whether you're new to RV living or just looking to get your finances in order before hitting the road, this guide will help you prepare for a smooth and sustainable transition. Welcome, and thank you for joining me on this journey. Today, we are going to break down the real roadmap to mastering your RV dream life. We're giving you the steps, no fluff, no false promises. And the reality is that you will need to do the work. This is your dream. It's the life that you and your family have decided that you want to live. And it will be all the more rewarding because you and your family made it come true. In phase 1, we discussed your RV goals. We encourage you to work with your co-travelers so that you could ensure you are all on the same page. Now, if you haven't watched that video, then I will link it above so that you can watch it when you're finished with this one. And don't forget the handouts that go along with each of these videos. They are really great resource tools for you to use throughout your journey. And you can find the links to the handouts in the information below. By doing these and ensuring you and your travel team are in alignment, even when things change, and they will between now and the time you actually hit the road, at least you know what you're aiming at. And that's what allows you to begin building your roadmap. Now, phase 2 primarily has its focus on your finances. So financial planning, budgeting, your spending habits. However, each of these areas of financial focus has to be linked with the logistical planning needed to make such a large, expensive dream come true, right? In this section, you'll learn how to realistically reorganize your current priorities by crafting a blueprint for the future, but one that takes on a life of its own very quickly. Science will actually tell us that the biggest obstacle to achieving our really large, financially burdened dreams is the amount of time and energy you devote to making it come true. Now, we want to understand, and we do understand, that we live in the real world. That's why I'm in the situation that I'm in currently, putting my dream on hold because we need to care for a family member and get them healthy and ready to join us on the road. Now, we all have different ways of keeping track of the ebb and flow of our lives and the things we need to do. And I'm going to share some ways that I've been forced to change and to make different choices so that I can stay excited about our dream and make the reality happen. Number 1, changing the way you've always done something is one way of making sure you spend the time it takes to make a successful change. Now, because you have a full life and you're adding a pretty hefty new role on your plate, I highly recommend you use a planner. Now, if you already use one and it works for you, great. I've been using planners for a long time. When I was working full-time, I used to spend a great deal of money on the Erin Condren planners. Now, as I got closer to retirement and lessened my responsibilities and priorities, I realized I didn't need such a comprehensive planning tool, one that had space to plan from not just month to month and week to week, but day to day and hour to hour. I just didn't need to plan my life so intensely any longer. And since that time, I've changed to using an A5 size planning tool and one that just was pretty simplistic, and I just printed off myself. However, now that I have this new plan and one that I want to make sure is achieved in the next 2 years, and the added responsibilities I now have with my brother Jim, I have found I do need something a bit more comprehensive. So here's a copy of a 2-page spread that I made up on Canva. Now, if you want to learn how to make your own calendar in Canva, then let me know in the comments below, and I'll be happy to make a little tutorial on how I did it. And we all know that life doesn't stay the same week after week, month after month, year after year. And so the reason I like this is because when life is heavy, I can make room for more appointments and more tracking. And when I just don't need very much, I can lighten it up and loosen it up. And I can make it colorful, or I can make it more basic. It's very customizable. So I want you to think about all those things, not only that you're excited about doing because you're getting ready to plan for a life on the road, but also of all the things you're currently doing. And if you've got new priorities that have popped up, then think about those as well. You want to list all the things that you can think of and get them out of your brain. Nothing will stifle you more than having your brain so full of information that you can't make a decision about anything. So if you write all these things down, however you like to, electronically or on a piece of paper, and then I want you to think about prioritizing them. So there's lots of different methods. If you don't have one of the ones I use the most is the ABC and 1, 2, 3 method. So if you go through your list and give anything that has a deadline, and that deadline is pretty close, then that gets an A beside it. If it's a task that needs to be done, even if you don't have a specific date for it yet, then put a B beside it. And if it's a task responsibility that you really would like to do or is several months down the road, then put a C beside it. And then forget about all the B's and C's for a minute. Just take all those A's. Then go back through the list and put a 1 by the number 1 most important A task that you have. And then a number 2 by the second most important until you have them all listed. After you get your A's prioritized, then you need to put them on your calendar. And those are things that have to be done. And I would even encourage you to put things like family responsibilities. If you have a soccer game you need to go to watch your son or your grandson or your daughter or granddaughter, then you put that game on there, and that's an appointment. And here's what I found out. When you have somebody that wants your time and they say to you, could you meet me at 3:00 on Tuesday? And if you were to say, I'm going to my grandson's soccer game that day, they would try to talk you out of it because they don't see family as priority. But if you simply say, I'm sorry, I can't meet you, then I have an appointment at 3 on that day. They respect appointments. So utilize that kind of terminology to keep your promises that you make to others and to yourself on there. And that's one of the ways that you're actually going to be able to get through all your responsibilities. Now, here's something else. You may have a lot of A responsibilities right now, but don't try to do them all in one day. Start with the most important, do 1, 2, 3. And then whatever you don't get done, or if you had to break it apart, then put that piece on the next day or when that holding time is over. And then put 3 more steps in there, whether it's the rest of A2 or it is going into A3, A4, A5. Once you have all your A's listed, you can go back, especially with the B's that have a deadline. Now, they might be several months down the road, but here's the other thing, and this is where we'll use this in the planning for our RV life as well. So basically, if you have a deadline or a goal that you want to complete by a certain time for your RV plans, you may put that 3 or 4 months down the road. But you're not going to wait until that deadline day to accomplish that task. You're going to break it down and do pieces of it throughout the next 3 months, say. So put that in there as well. And again, if you have a C, something you'd like to do, like I'm considering going to a rally in October, and I'll tell you more about that later if we are able to go, then I want to make sure that that's on the calendar. I'm going to save those dates, but I may or may not actually go to that rally. Once it gets closer and I make the decision, then I'll put the promises that go along with it. like reservations and packing and tickets and all those kinds of things. Once you have your life on your calendar, that is going to open up some room and some space to allow you to see when you can really spend quality time crafting and planning for your RV life. Sometimes calendaring can be overwhelming, and everybody again has their own rhythms on how to do things. One of the things that really helps me is to segment my calendar and do a lot of color coding. So for instance, you'll see at the bottom right here of my calendar, anything that is highlighted in yellow is one of my A priorities. If it's green, the priorities have a financial impact. And that's important because as we go along and I show you how we're going to be working with our planner to watch our finances and plan our finances so that we can make that RV dream a reality, we need to see where money is coming in and where it's going out. I've decided to use the blue highlighter for my RV planning. Now, much of the things that I do in my planner are things I've done for a long time. So it's easier for me to focus that. It's more really a time blocker. But now with this real intense look and this real intense planning that I'm considering for the RV plans, I want to see that when I open up my calendar, and I'm using the blue highlighter for that. I don't want to lose sight at any time, though, about the importance of having self-care and things that make you feel good and give you energy, especially in this season of life. We cannot work as hard as we used to and then have the energy to plan for this fun and exciting RV life in the future. So you'll see on my calendar that the pink highlighter is for my feel goods or want tos. They are things that I don't have to do. I just want to do. And this is kind of the time frame that I see would work in my schedule. So why is this so important? Why am I going into how to do a calendar? Because science tells us if we don't focus on our wants and dreams, they just won't happen. So now we know when we'll focus on our RV plan. Let's talk about what to focus on during this phase. Hey friends, we are so glad you're a part of this journey with us. And I know it's a little bit sporadic right now, and that's because we've got lots of doctor's appointments and things going on with Jim. And just like I talked about in this video, sometimes we have to be flexible. Sometimes we have to change our plans. So that's what I'm working on to get these out to you a lot sooner. So if today's message meant anything to you, please do me the favor of liking and subscribing, and we will see you very soon.